And welcome to The Factor Uncensored. Tonight we're doing a deep dive on something a lot of you watching can relate to. Breaking those generational curses. We begin with a re-examination on family. Those bonds should automatically come with unconditional love, right? Well, regardless of circumstances. However, we know that's not always the case in everyone's family structure. Joining me tonight to talk about it, we have with us parent Lewis Hunter, music artist, digital creator Emilio Cucci, and sex expert Lady McCallan. Glad to have you all here on The Factor Uncensored. Now, when we talk about family members and getting love or automatic love, is that actually the case for everyone? Should that be the case that because this is my brother, because this is my sister, I automatically love you?
No. I don't think so. I mean, I think that everything in life should be earned, especially family bonds. I've been estranged from my family for like 16 years. And I made that choice very, very hard for me, but at the same time easy, because I chose to break curses, right? They were bad people. I didn't want them in my life. And therefore,
so you walked away from the family?
Yes, I walked away. And there was warnings, but they didn't listen, and therefore, I don't believe that blood is thicker than water.
Now, did you walk away from the entire family
or certain
family members?
The entire family.
How do you do that?
Well, I see things very black and white. So for me, I gave warnings. I told them to stop doing very toxic, abusive behavior, and they didn't listen to me. And so I had a child, and my child was not going to grow up in that abusive, toxic environment that my family put me through. So I chose him over my family.
All right, Emilio, let's bring you into this conversation. What are your thoughts on family members, relatives, and automatic love?
So I'm kind of with Lady on this topic because I feel like this really hits home for me. As a child, I was sexually abused by a relative, and it was a really weird and uncomfortable situation growing up, feeling like for the sake of my family, I had to smile in my abuser's face. So
did the entire family know about it? What?
Eventually, yeah.
You felt like you had to keep the peace.
Yeah, I feel like, especially for like the elders in the family, like I had to just kind of like, how she said, like just keep the peace and not really like disrupt the family dynamic.
And from that point on, how's your family structured now? Do you still communicate with family members?
Yeah, well, I mean, that person went to prison for what they did eventually, so I didn't have to deal with that for a good 10 years. And then when he got out of prison, I was an adult and I had already kind of dealt with, you know, everything that I felt like I needed to deal with, and I don't have contact with that person. So. And
did any family members blame you when he went to prison for his behavior?
They didn't like outright say that, but I got the vibe that they just didn't want to mess with me at all. Like I felt like that for sure, definitely. As a child, I was like, what did I do? I spoke up about some stuff that happened to me, and y'all are acting funny with me over this.
And how difficult was that for you?
It was really difficult. I felt like ostracized by cousins and aunts and stuff, and I didn't know why. I was just saying, this happened, it was wrong, and yeah.
All right, Lewis, let's bring you into this conversation when we got some heavy folk who went before you.
Yeah,
right?
I'm pretty deep there, Coochie. All right, I disagree with him, and I'll tell you why. I think love should be unconditional, particularly for your family. I think anytime you have transactional love, you know, then that creates a problem. Not to say that you have to agree with your family, or that you have to maintain proximity with your family. You can love someone and disagree with them. You know, on a much smaller scale. You know, my daughter, you know, my one daughter, I wanted her to be a nurse or a teacher or something. She wanted to be an artist. You know, so when she graduated from high school, I told her, I'm not paying for college so you can be the best drawer in Texas. You know, I'm not doing that. Now, I still love you. I'll support you. You need places. You'll always have a place to stay. But it's not as deep as what they're talking about. But you should always, love should always be an unconditional thing for your family. You don't have to agree with them. You don't have to see them. You know, it's okay to keep your distance. You don't have to have your kids around them if it puts your kids at risk. But you love them, that's your family. And
Lady McCallum,
Oh, no.
you're shaking your head.
Oh, hell no.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
No, everything is a contract. Everything in life is a contract, period. I don't care what you say. There's no such thing as unconditional love. It is conditional.
So everything for you is transactional?
Everything is. Everything is. Even with my child, it's transactional. No, it's love. If I love him, he needs to love me back.
You have transactional love with your child?
Yes, with everyone. But this is what you're thinking about transactions as monetary or whatever.
No,
right?
I'm not talking monetary.
No, but the way you're talking about it is.
If your
like,
child doesn't meet their end up in the transaction, do you not love them?
No, I will always love him.
That's what I'm saying.
But
That's
no, but he
unconditional.
doesn't have to love me, okay? He's not required to love me if I abuse him. He's not required to love me if someone sexually abuses him and I do not take his side. That is unconditional love that is toxic, okay? Here's the thing that people don't really talk about that forms so much trauma with the people that I work with almost every day. You don't have to unconditionally love anybody except for yourself, period. Okay? If somebody hurts you, if somebody betrays you, if somebody abuses you, you no longer are obligated to love them for anything.
I think to alter yourself, you know, I think that to alter who you are as a person and your emotional well-being behind what someone else has done to you kind of causes more trauma. And I'm not one of those people that bleed on trauma, all right? But I think that hurts you more than anything.
I'm curious, though, to know, your perspective on, because you believe in unconditional love. So
Yes.
I'm curious to know if something like my situation happened to one of your children, how you would feel about, like, it was like one of your
I don't know if
relatives.
this was an uncle. I don't know if this
It was a cousin. But
okay, if this was a cousin, uncle, whatever family member it was, as a family member, you don't wish any bad on him. What he did was pretty bad. But either that or you let that hate just eat you up. And now you start acting out of yourself.
and that's
the decision that you have to make. You know, if you want to just go insane behind something that happened to you as a child, or go forth and don't change who you are, then that's a choice you got to make.
See, y'all can go high, I'll go lower than hell. It's fine.
Thank you all for joining us. We should go on with the segment, but we're out of time. Thank you.